What do you think is going to happen once you see Gears and Halo on fucking PlayStation? Huh? You're gonna tell me a kid is gonna ask to buy an Xbox if they can play Halo on their PlayStation?
Of course not.
Dude, I live in fucking Pony Nation. I think I'm the only Xbox fucking fan in Panama. It's already hard to tell everybody that your box is absolutely trash.
Alright everybody, welcome back to another Xvault gaming video. Xvault here, and today we're going to go over your next dose of the salty batch files. That's right, what we're going to go over is a lot of flip-flopping from the Xbox, talking heads, fraud, shills, grifters, all that sort of stuff, because, well, a lot of people don't think they've been flip-flopping, and here we find out just how disingenuous they really are. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump to it. Alright, so like I say, what we're going to do is get right to the theme of things here, get right to the plot. As I mentioned in the previous video, right, I am still coming off of being extremely sick, so hopefully there's not a lot of cuts or any cuts whatsoever, but we'll have to wait and see, so bear with me, my voice and how things go. But let's get right to it here. So the first one being here, Island Gaming. If you haven't seen this jabroni, this clown himself, well, welcome, unfortunately, but he has been around, haven't shown him too much, but here you can see he has a video. Sony fans are convinced that Microsoft is going third party, laughing emoji, and no one can compete with Game Pass. So again, we have a lot of examples here, so we're going to have to almost kind of quick fire this a little bit, but again, flip-flopping at its finest here. Watch, just watch here, because the whole rhetoric was that it wasn't happening, right? That's the theme. It was never going to happen, this, that, and the other. But as we continue on, so now, next video later on down the line, more PlayStation games going to Xbox, a bunch of laughing emojis, full third party, and reaction. So then they start making up delusion, right? First of all, it's the PlayStation fan base that's seen the writing on the wall, mind you, that wasn't going to happen. But now we're just going to live in a delusional land since that did happen. Now it's going to be happening, or has to be happening, for PlayStation as well. You're going to see Spider-Man, Last of Us, all the first-party PlayStation games on Xbox. And no, I'm sorry, but those games being on PC and everything's an Xbox isn't counting. We know that's not the reality of the matter there as far as tit for tat, right? That just doesn't make any sense. But again, living in their own delusion, like we could see here. Pretty pathetic here, but just one of the many jabronis out there, right? Not to quote The Rock from the 90s, but here we are. Old school G. Nobody wants an Xbox, clown emoji, right? Xbox has no games, clown emoji. Xbox is going third party, clown emoji. Please put Starfield, Hi-Fi Rush, Sea of Thieves, Ori, and Indiana Jones on PlayStation, crying emoji. Brought to you by, apparently, the Ponies, Port Begging Association. We want your games, but we just don't want you to know it. So, just kind of pause on that. People that kind of use that rhetoric like Xbox had no games and PlayStation players didn't want it. It's not that they didn't want it. They're just not going to go and buy that console for those games. They're not that meaningful to those guys. If it was, they would have bought those consoles, because exclusives sell games and consoles and everything in between in an ecosystem, right? So that's what that happens to mean. That's what that rhetoric is. So it's not that Xbox had no games. They had no quality games to entice the competing platform of players to jump over and buy a certain platform to play those. If it comes over to it, people are bored, or like, you know what, here's the forbidden fruit, so to speak. That's what's going to happen. But of course, as we continue on from Mr. O School here, he states, okay, now, thinking emoji, who did this? And he's laughing. Xbox is going third party. PlayStation ship sinking. I'm just confused why the success of PlayStation as an ecosystem, as far as consoles being sold, as far as the health of the games in that ecosystem, what delusion are we talking about here? Make it make sense. Do we see the flip-flopping nonstop here, guys? It never stops, but we're not done here. So now, with all that going on, now the real flip-flop happens from Old School. And here you have feeling green and has the Xbox brand logo all over those PlayStation first-party games from Ratchet & Clank to Ghost of Tsushima, God of War, Last of Us, Uncharted, and of course Horizon. And Astrobot peeking out to the right-hand side, right? Man, what I can do is take a step back real quick, all things considered, and just appreciate the first-party games that we have from PlayStation. And this is why me as a PlayStation gamer, and that's why I'm there, is because of these games, right? These games makes me very happy to own that system because I know I can play those day one. I don't have to finagle with stuff, and it's there. These are the games that I want, and they're there. But again, who's the real port beggars and hoping for a tit for tat type of situation? But then, of course, Insomniac at the bottom, hey, how are ya? Be greater, Spider-Man PS5. You know, he's sharing that as well with the requote there. So thinking that Spider-Man is also going to be a piece of this, right? And it's just not. You know, again, they're going to flip-flop. They're going to twist and move that goalpost. Everything's an Xbox. These PlayStation games are on PC, right? So that's what's going to happen. They're going to be playing those on there, and we win because technically they're on an Xbox console, and the next Xbox console is going to be this hybrid and going to have PC, and we could technically play these games. We'll have to wait and see how that pans out, of course, but regardless, if you want to just do that, get a PC now. We've been over this multiple times, but as we continue there, Old School additionally states, embrace it now and spare your feelings, son. It's just a matter of time, Neil Dream Vanna. And he's just saying, keep dreaming, right? Because it's like, he is dreaming. He's hoping that Xbox and Nixxes, they're going to do some sort of port fiasco here, where Nixxes is going to port all those PlayStation first-party games specifically to Xbox. But again, look how they're doubling, tripling down on something that hasn't happened, and PlayStation doesn't need this to happen. That's the thing. They're selling well off enough, more than enough on these consoles. They're doing well, even in COVID times, even during high economy times, even during all this other stuff. They've looked in the future. How can we consistently make PlayStation a brand and a console that's worth owning and have reasons to own this console behind everything else, right? So apologies there with the cough, but as we continue here, what I want to share with you real quick is a quick video from King David. This is a famous one. The realization setting in real time. You could see the heartbreak. Once again, if you missed this video, check this out. Indiana Jones being announced for the PlayStation 5. Here you go.
But there is one more thing that Machine Games and Bethesda wanted to share with you about Indiana Jones and the Great Circle.
Oh, man.
They just destroyed themselves.
The game's coming to PlayStation 5 in spring of 2025.
Oh, man.
All right,
They just destroyed themselves.
All right, and as you can see there, like I said, the heartbreak and everything else setting in, it's a good one here. But let's look at what he said after not too long, right? Here we have a little post of Kratos getting on a plane labeled Xbox, and his video stating, PlayStation fanboys stunned. So now again, that's disillusionment, misinformation, overhyping, stating that the precedence is PlayStation first-party games going directly to an Xbox console. That's not happened. It hasn't happened. Helldivers 2 is the games as a service game that ended up being over there. The devs really wanted that to happen. Somebody said, you know what, go ahead. That sort of thing. But the first party single player games, no iteration of those coming over to Xbox in general. There's just no reason, right? So again, just they don't stop with the facade. They don't stop. And then as we continue here, he has another video, right? PlayStation is full third party. PlayStation bends the knee, right? It's just, and he has the Fund Me Bank. Getting all these super chats, all this sort of stuff. It's just weird, right? You say what your audience wants to hear, and that's what you do. But ultimately, if you just talk out your ass, this is what you look like, a complete clown, right? That's all you do, and there's no it's all baseless claims, right? The whole time, baseless claims, flip-flopping. These games aren't landing on PlayStation from Xbox, but lo and behold, because just trust me, bro, PlayStation first-party games are coming over to Xbox. You reap what you sow kind of situation, right? So it's so bad. It's so pathetic. It's like, you know, you suffer from secondhand embarrassment. That's what I get when I see these posts, when these videos come across my screen somehow. I just happen to see them. I'm like, man, you just get that secondhand embarrassment from just misinformation for no reason, just for the frauding, shifting, grifting, grilling, pilling, whatever you want to say, right? Let's come up with a few other rhymes here, but it's just really absurd, really absurd. But let's continue here. Let's go to XBG, Xbox Battlegrounds here. Starts off, PlayStation fanboys are now port begging 24/7 for Xbox games. Stop begging for Xbox games. Indiana Jones, because they were holding that near and dear to their chest and heart, hoping for the best that would not see the light of day ever on a PlayStation console. But as we continue on, once that happened, Pony's worst nightmare coming to life. Pony's worst nightmares coming to life. Shows all the first party games, right? Just to make themselves feel better. That's all this is. It's just to make themselves feel better. And again, secondhand embarrassment. It's like, what are you doing to yourself? Like, there's no way in any shape or form when anybody with a sanity-based mind, right, who's sane, would believe anybody like this. But the delusional sheep would latch onto this. You get the followers, you get the clicks, you get the likes, you get all that stuff off of baseless claims. But all it shows is patheticness, right? And as we continue on, we have another. Not gonna cut that. XBG, Horizon Zero Dawn, FW, Forbidden West, right? Throwing that, hoping that that's on Xbox as well. And then The Last of Us with a green heart. Just really, really hoping, wishing, because you know what? If they have to lose stuff, so should PlayStation, right? So should PlayStation. It's pathetic. But as we continue to go on, he has another, of course. And then coming soon, we have the Xbox God of War console, right? This is what they want. Premium Special Edition God of War console. So, what do we take away from this? What do we take away from this? Is since they lost their stuff, they are doing nothing but begging, actually begging, because nobody on PlayStation is like, man, please give me Halo, please give me Gears. Nobody was saying that. They said, hey, if it ever happened, cool, whatever. You know what I mean? Like me personally, I don't care about most Xbox first-party games. Me personally, this is why I'm more than fine and have been more than fine on PlayStation, because A, I don't have the time to have multiple systems, right? You'd think, okay, just go to PC, but I also don't want to wait for those day one PlayStation first-party games. That's why I was there. I like the ease of plug and play, all that sort of stuff as well. And, but yeah, when it comes to Halo, Gears, Fable, Forza, if I get to them, I get to them. They happen to be over there again, the forbidden fruit. It's just kind of interesting, right? It's just like, hey, I'm going to have this Xbox game on the PlayStation just for the lulz, right? If anything. But ultimately, it is what it is. But I don't see the same narrative and the same weight that's being carried on the Xbox side of things when it comes to port begging, when it comes to disillusionment and stuff like that. And I'm not saying there's not disillusioned fanboys on every side, but even Nintendo, obviously, right? And we have Nintendo God and all these other weirdos that lie all the time, but we will get to them. But ultimately, it's just weird. It's just weird behavior. The flip-flopping never stops, never ceases to amaze me. But regardless, it is what it is. Now, we will end up wrapping up the video here. Of course, every like, comment does help out the algorithm. Of course, if you haven't already, definitely leave a like and maybe possibly subscribing, helping out Ace Possible subathon here of getting to that 4,000 sub goal. I know we can do. You guys have been also so amazing. And of course, as always, would love to hear from you down below. So sound off on your thoughts and opinions about this whole fiasco and how they've changed that narrative and goalpost moving nonstop with these guys. Just let us know. your thoughts and your own conclusions down below, of course. That being said, everybody enjoy the rest of your day, and at the end of the day, just remember, don't be a salty batch. And we'll see y'all next time on the next Xvault gaming video, and until then, take care.